Welcome, dreamer. The bookstore is warm tonight. The lanterns are glowing softly, the chairs are extra cozy, and a perfect spot is waiting just for you. Tonight, we're opening one of my favorite storybooks. Inside these pages lives a very tiny dragon, the smallest dragon in the whole kingdom. A dragon who feels, for a long time, like he is too small. Until one brave night, he discovers that his size is exactly what makes him special. Take a deep breath. Let the calm settle around you like a cozy chair. Now let's turn the page together and begin The Littlest Dragon. In the kingdom of Ferntilly, fields of wildflowers and soft grass rolled over gentle hills, so soft and smooth, like folds of a giant blanket. Winding rivers caught the light like silver ribbons, and breezes came through the forest that smelled faintly of pine and sweetgrass. Humans and dragons had lived side by side for as long as anyone could remember. The people often said that the beat of a dragon's wings kept the winds moving, and a dragon's warmth kept the winter from ever growing too cold. Dragons helped lift heavy beams for builders, plowed long fields in a single sweep of their great tails, and protected travelers from bandits hiding in the hills. In return, humans cared for the dragons with equal devotion. They grew herbs for dragon medicine, crafted charms for safe flight, and brewed soft-smelling healing potions that soothed even the highest fever. Ferntilly was a kingdom built by friendship and strengthened by trust, where the work of dragons and the work of humans fit together as pieces of their shared story. Not long ago, something unusual happened. Dragon eggs in Ferntilly were always rare and welcome wonders. Each one glowed softly with warmth and were colored like the sky at sunrise, with deep blues melting into gold and pale purples fading into pink. This particular egg was no different. It was large as a melon and smooth as polished glass, gleaming with the gentle shimmer of a lake catching the first light of dawn. From the warm, glowing egg, a small crack traced its way across the surface, followed by another, until a tiny beak peeked through. The little dragon chirped, a sound so cheerful it made everyone nearby laugh. He wiggled out in a tumble of eggshell pieces, his crimson scales shimmering like polished rubies, and his dark brown wings unfurled slowly as if stretching after a long dream. His golden eyes blinked open, gentle and bright, and it seemed he smiled at everyone gathered around him. The people of Ferntilly exchanged hopeful looks, certain that this little one would grow into a grand, powerful dragon someday. But weeks passed, months passed, and then years. And the little dragon stayed little. He grew, of course, but only to the size of a small dog. His wings were small and delicate, barely strong enough to lift him onto the low branch of a tree. Nothing like the great, sweeping wings of the other dragons who could soar across the kingdom. And though his tail grew long, just as dragon tails should, It tended to tangle at his feet and send him tumbling. To keep himself steady, he often curled it into a neat little loop, a little spiral of crimson that bounced behind him as he moved. The kingdom loved him dearly and called him Pip, a name as small and friendly as he was. Everywhere he went, people found little ways he could help. His long tail was perfect for curling around the highest apples and plucking them gently from branches. At night, every family hoped Pip might choose their cottage to sleep, because his dragon warmth turned chilly evenings into cozy ones, and his soft red glow painted their walls with sleepy light. But even with all this love wrapped warmly around him, Pip felt a tiny ache inside whenever he watched the great dragons work. Their mighty wings and rumbling strength made him feel smaller than he already was. The mighty dragons breathed flames so bright they could turn dry twigs into a roaring bonfire with a single exhale. They soared above the mountain peaks where the air turned thin, slicing through storm clouds, turning them to shadows. They could tug tree trunks from the earth, scoop stranded horses from rivers, and lift whole wagons as if they weighed nothing more than feathers. Pip, meanwhile, could barely carry a basket of apples without tumbling over his own looping tail. Even though the people gave him his favorite sweet berries and soft places to sleep beside their fires, he worried. He worried he did not do enough. He worried he did not matter. Then one evening, everything changed. A young girl named Lana ventured into the woods to gather healing herbs before evening fell. She knew the forest well and moved with confidence, skipping and humming as she gathered leaves into her basket. But the forest was a maze of curling paths, and the sun dipped behind the hills far sooner than she realized, washing the woods in quiet darkness. Evening turned to night, and Lana did not return home. Her mother hurried through the meadows, calling her name until her voice broke into whispers. Her father rushed to the village square, asking every passerby if they had seen his little girl. And when the last light faded, the king's guards lit their lanterns, their warm glow flickering in the cool air, and disappeared into the shadowed trees to search for her. But the forest of Ferntilly was vast, and as the sky darkened, fog spilled between the tree trunks like soft gray smoke. The guards' lanterns disappeared into the haze. Hours passed. They did not find Lana. Worry spread across the kingdom like a cold wind. The dragons launched into the air, their powerful wings beating hard enough to send leaves fluttering from distant branches. They swept over the forest canopy, peering down through the twisting shadows for the faint glow of a lantern or the shimmer of Lana's cloak. But the fog grew heavy, spilling through the trees. The moonlight dimmed, unable to reach the ground. And soon, all the dragons could see from above was a restless sea of gray mist, swirling and hiding everything beneath it. Down in the village, Pip watched the dragons return one by one, shaking their heads in fear and frustration. Their wings drooped, their fires dimmed. No one had found Lana. A small warmth flickered in Pip's chest. He wasn't big, he wasn't strong, but he was small. Smaller than any dragon Ferntilly had ever known. And maybe, just maybe, that meant he could slip into places the guards and great dragons could never reach. Pip drew in a slow, steady breath, his little body trembling but determined. Before anyone could call him back, he turned toward the shadowed forest and unfurled his tiny wings. With a brave hop, Pip flew low and fast, skimming just above the ground. His wings sliced through the fog, parting it in thin, swirling ribbons. He disappeared into the trees so quickly that his soft, crimson glow was swallowed by the mist, leaving the watching villagers gasping, hands pressed to their hearts. Inside the forest, the fog lay thick and heavy, muffling every sound like a blanket laid over the world. But down near the forest floor, where only a dragon as small as Pip could fly, the air was clearer. The mist curled above his head like a pale ceiling, and below it, his bright golden eyes could pick out every root, leaf, and trail as he pressed deeper into the woods, hopeful and unafraid. A single thread of Lana's blue ribbon clung to a thorny branch, swaying gently as if trying to catch his eye. Pip's heart fluttered with it. A spark of hope swelled in his chest. He followed its path deeper into the woods, ducking beneath fallen logs, slipping through hollowed roots and weaving between tree trunks twisted into shapes only the forest understood. Above him, the fog curled into thick layers, but down here, beneath the mist's heavy cover, the forest floor was clearer, shadowed, yes, but still easy for someone small to navigate. Darkness wrapped around him like a blanket, silence pulled in close. Pip chirped, though his voice was no louder than a breeze. Only the rustling leaves answered. So he pushed on. The deeper he went, the heavier the fog pressed from above, as if trying to hide the forest from curious eyes. Pip's small body shivered, but his determination held him steady. He knew these woods were tricky even under the bright sun. At night, it was a maze. Then he heard something. A faint, trembling sound. Not quite a cry, not quite a call, but a soft sniffle. Pip followed the sound until he reached a moss-covered hollow log, tilted like a fallen archway in the forest. Inside, a lantern flickered weakly, its small flame barely hanging on. He poked his head through the opening. Lana was curled up inside, small and shaking, hugging her basket tight. When she saw Pip's golden eyes shining at her from the darkness, she gasped softly. "Pip," she whispered. He chirped a quiet, hopeful note and stepped inside the hollow. Gently, He nuzzled against her hand. Lana let out a sigh, relief washing over her as she wrapped her arms around him. His warmth spread through her like comfort itself. "I knew someone would find me," she whispered. "I just didn't think it would be you." Pip puffed out a small swirl of smoke, doing his absolute best to look heroic. Lana let out a tiny, sleepy giggle. And in that moment, Pip's heart shone brighter than any ember he had ever made. But they were still deep in the forest, wrapped in darkness. Outside the hollow, the fog curled thicker than before, draping the entrance like a pale curtain. Lana shivered. How could they possibly find their way through that? Pip looked at Lana's lantern, the flame no more than a tiny trembling spark. Then he looked down at his own small chest. A gentle warmth stirred there, a warmth he'd always thought too small to be of any use. He took a slow, steady breath and puffed out a single glowing ember. It drifted through the air like a sleepy firefly and landed in the lantern, settling softly on the wick. The lantern flickered, fluttered, then bloomed into a warm, steady glow. The new light pushed gently into the fog, carving a narrow, glowing path just wide enough for two small travelers. Pip nudged Lana's hand, urging her forward. "Follow me," his bright eyes seemed to say. Slowly, carefully, they stepped out of the hollow. Pip led the way, the lantern shining like a tiny sunrise at his side. As they walked, the fog thinned and drifted back, revealing the forest floor in soft patches. With every step, the woods felt less frightening, as if Pip's tiny warmth had softened the night itself. Above the rolling fog, a few of the great dragons were still circling, their wings brushing the clouds. Suddenly, one spotted a tiny warm light weaving between the trees far below. The dragon let out a low, rumbling call, a soft signal that rolled through the sky. The others tucked their wings and swooped toward the glow, their great shadows sliding over the treetops. By the time Pip and Lana stepped out of the forest's edge, the entire kingdom was waiting. Lanterns, torches, and shimmering dragon fire lit the fields in gentle gold. Families, farmers, children, and dragons all stood waiting, their lights warming the night like a celebration. Lana's mother ran forward and swept her daughter into her arms. Her father held them both close, tears slipping quietly down his cheeks. And then all eyes fell on Pip, the tiny dragon with the tiny wings, standing shyly beside Lana, his scales glowing like a warm ember. For a moment, the world went still. Then the king stepped through the crowd and knelt, bringing his crown almost level with Pip's head. "You," the king said in a voice full of wonder, "saved her when no one else could." Pip stared at the ground, tail curling into a tight loop. His wings gave a nervous flutter. Then Lana rested her hand on him, warm and sure. "See, Pip," she whispered, "you're exactly who you're meant to be." That night, the kingdom didn't cheer or shout or set off roaring fireworks. Instead, they lit small lanterns and set them free into the sky. Hundreds of tiny lights rose slowly and gently, each one glowing no brighter than Pip's brave ember. And Pip sat proudly beside Lana, watching the lights drift upward like floating stars, feeling for the very first time that he was more than enough.